Hey, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Dr. Raghav Sharma. I am a graduating physical medicine rehabilitation resident, and I am there to help others maximize their lives and reach their kind of potential of what they would want to do with their lives. I've created a variety of videos relating to things in health and medicine, and the last couple of videos have been kind of an introduction to get to know me after my break on YouTube, so check those out right here. But in this video, we're going to talk about what I call the 5 pillars of preventive medicine, or essentially now the pillars of health, and what everyone should be doing to maximize their health. So let's get right into the video. Number 1, exercise. Exercise is a foundation. Make sure you are doing at least 3 resistance training exercise sessions per week. The earlier you start in your life, the better. And also maximize your aerobic health by doing at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise weekly, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity. So when it comes to exercise, this is actually pretty simple, and you don't need to do anything intense. You don't need to become a power lifter. You don't need to become a marathon runner, any of those things. If you do enjoy athletics or sports or anything of the like, or you are competitive, then this would probably be a little bit on the easier side, but by no means you have to do anything very intense. And when I say kind of resistance training and aerobic exercise, I really want to emphasize both and not just kind of doing one thing and kind of making up the other. It's really focusing on both things, and there are unique independent benefits to both of these things. And I actually did an entire presentation kind of on the benefits of resistance training, because oftentimes in medicine it's kind of forgotten in lieu of aerobic training. So kind of briefly, there are a whole host of benefits for resistance training, but particularly they come down to every single body system. So they're going to improve your overall body composition and improve fat-free mass, which is incredible for a variety of things. They're going to improve your cardiovascular health independent of aerobic exercise. It's going to improve your bone health and risk for osteoporosis. It's going to improve your general functional mobility, and it's going to improve your frailty. And this is incredibly important as you age. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that. That's going to be a whole other video, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're not already, subscribe for that video kind of on the specific benefits of resistance training and how to incorporate it. But that's that. Next up is aerobic training, and this is typically a lot easier for people to do because this is like easy. You essentially just go for a faster paced walk or a jog. You can hop on a treadmill, an elliptical, or play pickup basketball, whatever it is that you want. But the important thing here is to get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. Now, this isn't to say that you can't do more. There's actually a whole host of benefits from doing a ton more up until a very, very high threshold, which most people are never going to achieve. I'll say 99.5% of people will never get to that level. So kind of the more you can do, the better. Exercise isn't intensive by any means. It's just something you have to be consistent with. And as long as you stay consistent throughout your lifespan, and this doesn't mean like doing until you're 50 then stopping. I mean consistently do it until kind of your deathbed, for lack of a better term, or to be morbid a little bit. But continue on with this. You will notice a whole host of benefits, and this is something I cannot stress enough. Number 2, nutrition. Forget what all the influencers are saying out there. Forget that complex stuff that makes it seem like rocket science. Nutrition is easy. Do just a couple things and you will be fine. And this is eat a diet of lean proteins, maximize your vegetables, eat some fruits here and there, and minimize processed foods. Next up is nutrition, and people make this unnecessarily complicated, and it absolutely grinds my gears because then everyone's just left confused and no one really knows what's going on. You have people in public health at this point who are elected who are kind of blaming the CDC and all these organizations that have really put forth some really good guidance out there. And there's some posts out there. I think if I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen right now. But they say that American food system is making people unhealthy and the guidelines are making them unhealthy. This is really not the case, and Americans don't really follow the guidelines, and that's why we're unhealthy. But really, nutrition is simple, and I can boil it down to a couple things. And number 1 is that protein, and is prioritize lean protein. And this is try to avoid red meat as much as you can. It's not saying if you have some red meat it's going to kill you, absolutely, but try to minimize it. Maximize your lean proteins. And this is if you are into resistance training and really want to build muscle, then up to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So you can go even higher than this. It's not necessarily going to hurt your kidneys unless you have pre-existing renal conditions and whatnot. All the way down to a minimum, I would say, of probably 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So that's kind of a wide range. You can change that based on your goals, but prioritize lean protein for a variety of reasons. After that, prioritize vegetables. And this is pretty much all kinds of vegetables. Make sure that you are filling up pretty much a fair amount of your plate at every meal if you can with some sort of vegetable. And after that comes fruit, and make sure you're eating fruit. If you are a diabetic, then you might want to be a little bit more careful about this, but make sure you're eating fruit. It is delicious. It is very nice. It's great for you. It has a ton of minerals, ton of nutrients and whatnot. And the biggest thing after this is, I'm not going to touch on whether or not you need to eat carbs or not. The biggest thing is to avoid ultra processed and processed foods as much as you can. I'm not saying don't go to McDonald's every once in a while, because everyone loves that. It's a craving for a lot of people, but it's try to minimize it. That's not have McDonald's every single morning as your breakfast on the way to work. That's maybe once every 1 week, 2 weeks as a little treat for, I guess, getting to work quickly or whatever's going on. Try to minimize those, and that way you're going to do a lot for your diet. And if you have specific goals, like for myself, if I'm running an ultra marathon or competing in powerlifting meet, or if someone is an elite athlete, let's say an NBA player, their diet's going to look very different based on kind of the specific needs of that. But for the vast majority of people, if you do those couple things, you will set yourself up for success. Number 3 is sleep. This is non-negotiable. Sleep 7 to 9 hours every single night. And forget all this mumbo jumbo about making sleep complex. Try and wake up at the same time every single morning, and just let your body get tired naturally for whatever time you go to sleep. Next up is sleep, and I actually have 2 whole podcast episodes on this over on the Preventive Medicine podcast, so I will link those down in the description below. But sleep is very important, and it's pretty much a superpower for those who can make sure that they get their 7 to 9 hours of sleep for life, I guess. There's a whole host of studies out there that pretty much sleep improves every single aspect of life, whether you're trying to change your body composition, whether you're just trying to reduce your markers of disease, whether you have hypertension, diabetes, all of that kind of stuff. Sleep improves. So make sure you maximize your sleep. That is one of the things that's kind of at the basis, even for pain, for a lot of the patients that I'll see in clinic who are suffering from back pain. Sleep is a foundational kind of thing for everything in life. So make sure you maximize your 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, there's a bunch of people out there who talk about different supplements, strategies to get better sleep, and I can say that there's a lot of pseudoscience out there. There's a lot of stuff that just makes things more complicated. Keep it simple. The best advice I got from Dr. Jade Wu on that podcast episode was to set a consistent wake up time every morning. And this is, maybe you can sleep in on the weekends a little bit, but try to wake up around the same time every single day and let your body naturally get tired as far as your going to sleep time. So if you have an extremely intensive day and you've kind of run a half marathon, then your body's going to get tired sooner and you will fall asleep faster, but try to wake up at that same time. Another thing that I learned, which was incredible, from Dr. Chris Winter on the other podcast, was that you can make up sleep debt. Now, it's kind of on a weekly rolling basis how much sleep that you should get. So kind of in a 7-day basis, it's anywhere from between 49 hours all the way to kind of 63. So let's say you were running at 40 hours up until Saturday. You need to catch up. You can sleep a couple of extra hours here and there to try to catch up on that sleep debt. That is totally a thing. So all in all, maximize your sleep, and this will help you out tremendously. Number 4 is stress relief. Make sure you have some activity or hobby that really helps you relieve the stress of the day and fill your cup back up. Next up is stress, and we are all very, very stressed, especially with whatever's going on in the world at any given time, and social media compounds this. If you open up your phone, if you open up Facebook, whatever app is that you go to, you will find some sort of stress on there. And even outside of our phones, our daily lives, we are just inundated with a variety of stresses, and we need to find a way to de-stress. There's a variety of studies out there, and we even know kind of on a personal basis that people say, oh, I'm very stressed, my blood pressure is going to be up. Oh, I'm very stressed, I haven't been sleeping well. So stress is another core component, and this is why I like to say, and this is why it's a pillar, honestly, to have some sort of way to relieve your own stress. Whether this is a guided meditation that you're doing, a self-meditation, whether it's a hobby you enjoy. For myself, running has become an immense way to relieve stress. Just find something that really helps you get rid of the stresses of the day, helps you kind of relax, calm you down, and also help fill up your own bucket so that you can kind of take on the next challenge, whatever you have, at a little bit better of a set point when it comes to stress. Whatever it is, find something that does this, and don't let it don't let it get taken away from you. And this is something that I find pretty commonly happens, is that people find some sort of hobby that they really enjoy, and then you'll see the stressors out there in social media saying, oh, you need to make this an additional income source. So the next thing you know, you go from knitting as your fun hobby to now suddenly you've opened up an Etsy store and you're pressured to make money off of whatever you are knitting. Try not to do that. Try to make sure that this is a hobby that solely you can enjoy and it doesn't turn into the toxic hustle culture that oftentimes you were exposed to. So find some way to relieve your stress and hold on to it. And lastly, number 5, and this is more important than you think, is maintain a sense of community or some sort of social connections. This can either be making sure that you hang out with your friends regularly, connect with them virtually, whatever it may be if you're far away, or join your local run club. Have some sort of community around you. And lastly is social connection. And once again, I cannot stress this one enough. We find ourselves isolated more and more. And you can hear probably there's headlines somewhere that say that isolation is a silent pandemic. And I have found this definitely to be true because social isolation really kind of puts yourself into this little jar and you're just kind of screaming into this jar and you think no one's going to help you. And you're like, what's the point of this? I'm alone. And at the end of the day, we are social creatures. We like to have some sort of connection. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to chase this out, and this is becoming more common in this kind of environment and these day-to-day conditions as people are sucked more and more into their own devices. But whether it's natural or whether you have to chase it, make sure you find some sort of social connection or some sort of community engagement. There's a variety of ways to do this. If you have friends in your area, let's say you've grown up in that area, make sure you maintain those connections, make an effort to do it, host events, make sure that you're organizing groups to like go get dinner, variety of whatever it is that you do to hang out. If you're moving to a new area, find local groups of things you're interested in. If you're into rock climbing, then find a climbing group. If you're into running, there's run clubs now everywhere across the country. Find people that have similar interests to you and really try to build some sort of community because this is the community that you can share yourself with, a community that you can rely on at times, hopefully, if you need them, and a community that really sometimes helps you find a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging in what otherwise seems like kind of a hopeless world sometimes. Once again, not to be morbid, but this is definitely a pillar of health that I have stressed more and more recently, and it's something that should not be forgotten. If you have stayed all the way to the end, then thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below and click that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my other videos. And if you also want to share this video so you can help maximize the lives of one of your friends, family members, that would mean a lot to me as well. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.